is being sponsored by the Cape Fear Economic Development Council, so I have a question that involves the economics of running a school system, the fiscal responsibility of the board members and the candidates hoping to be board members. It's my understanding that we have capacity in certain middle schools within our county that sits empty while we put temporary classrooms at other locations at a great expense to the county, simply to avoid having to face the parents about the busing issue. Now, this is just hard economic decisions that need to be made about using the facilities that we currently have. I'd like both the candidates and the existing school board members to address the waste of funds.
Thank you, Weston. We'll start with Mr. Rhodes.
That's an excellent question. New Hanover County is 33rd in the state when it comes to per pupil education, and on the local level it's number 7. If you add those numbers together, we spend $1,900 per student above the state average. What do we get for that? I really don't know. We have 2 buildings sitting empty right now. We have the pre-K center that's empty. We have Blunt School that's empty. Yet we have trailers everywhere. There is $279,000 in this year's budget to move trailers. Now, you tell me how much sense that makes. Meanwhile, we got buildings empty, and we got some of our middle schools are 5 of our middle schools are overcrowded. 3 have up to 300 empty spaces in it. We've got to do a better job of protecting the taxpayers' dollars.
Time. Mr. Stein.
Fiscal responsibility begins with a clear vision of what we want our school system to be, and then a strategy for realizing it. And that means that what informs the decisions that we make about where to put our money, where to put our who to hire, everything that we do is based on the strategy that we have towards going toward a particular vision. What has distressed me, as I've been sitting in board meetings for a while, is how most people are not thinking strategically, and there does not seem to be a clear vision. And the reason I say that is because decisions are made ad hoc and not made directed towards the particular goals that we should have or particular strategies that they have. Mr. Rhodes talked about the empty buildings, empty classrooms, and what we have to do instead with the mobile units. That's not good use of our funds. Overall, we know that we can do better. We don't need to get more money. We have to make better use of the money that we have.
Mr. Thompson.
The board is required to be stewards of the money that goes through its coffers. And we see a misuse of fundings when we have spaces that are not being properly used. Holly Shelter with 300 available seats, and then we have other schools that have the trailers. So that's a misuse of money. We also read in the paper that we have infrastructure in our schools, roofs that are going, weight rooms that have asbestos laying around. We need to do a financial audit. If our goal here is to educate students, then we need to say, what is the money being spent for, and how does that directly relate to student outcome? And we need to put that on a scale and say, yes, good, clean environments contribute to student outcome. Therefore, moving to a new school, don't keep a kid in a trailer. And we need to make those kind of decisions. Even though they may not be popular, we have to make them because they're judicious, they're economically sound, and they're good business. Thank you.
It is not a judicious decision because when we built Anderson, we filled Anderson to capacity. The very next year, we had to redistrict because the school was over capacity. We said that that would never happen again, and we would never fill a school again. We would always leave room. So we purposely left room in Castle Hayne so that there would not be an overcrowded school and we wouldn't have to redistrict.
Let's stop.
That is why we did it. You can laugh if you want, but the parents who were redistricted were very, very upset and did not want to be redistricted. Parents want to have stability for their children. We attempt to do the best of our ability to have stability for our children. We attempted to fill the school to the point that we could without overfilling it.
Mr. Hayes.
Well, the only middle school where there are ample seats sitting there now would be Holly Shelter. And as Mr. Higgins has stated before at other meetings, and it's still in the works, when all that was being designed and set up, the idea was, depending upon funding, that Virgo would be closed, and those children, that area would be shifted over to Holly Shelter, and then we were thinking of a vocational type, high school type operation in conjunction with Cape Fear Community College for use for Virgo. Now, if you look at the numbers, if you did that, then the 200, say roughly 300 empty seats at Holly Shelter, which still puts around 600 some children in there, if that plan were to be followed through, then the school would basically be at capacity. As far as expense in the mobile units, there are many schools that, Wrightsboro is a good example. I was visiting there the other day, that if it weren't for the 2 mobile units sitting there, the older schools, they didn't have art rooms and music rooms. So if you take those away, then you would have to give up the space there, or you could have art on a cart.
Time. Mr. Hickey?
I'm not going to try to defend the current redistricting. Instead, what I'll tell you is that I'm a strong proponent of parent choice. As a parent, I know that all children are different, and I don't presume to know what's necessarily best for another person's child. The parents wanted their children to go to these schools, which made these mobile units necessary. And the parents are my constituents, and they're the taxpayers, and they pay for the school system. And if the parents want the mobile units, then I say, let's keep the mobile units. Parent choice, my friend.
Mr. Higgins?
Well, I agree with what Mr. Hayes said. I mean, years ago when we started building on Holly Shelter about 4 or 5 years ago, the idea was that we were going to discontinue the use of Virgo, and that's the reason Holly Shelter was built as large as it is. And that may still be a case where we discontinue Virgo, and it's going to be nice to have that space. On the other hand, Castle Hayne is an area that is ripe for development. And as has been pointed out, we built Parsley, and people came from everywhere to Parsley. We almost had to start putting trailers in there immediately because of the numbers. And we were criticized for not having built a bigger school. As we spoke about Anderson, we've often been criticized for not looking ahead. Now one time we did look ahead and we're being criticized. I just think that we have to realize that people move. There is growth going on in this county, and we are trying to match that as close as we can.
Ms. Fugile?
Well, I think there are 2 issues here. I think one issue is being responsible with the way the money is spent. I think it should be absolutely transparent how everything is planned and how all the money is spent. And a part of leading from that, schools are built and redistricting is done. We have to restore faith in the school system and the leaders. Parents must have faith that the leaders are going to make good decisions. And people I talk to do not think that has been done. And so I think responsibility with planning, and sometimes as a leader you have to make a decision that somebody's going to disagree with. And if you have to jump and run and skirt around and respond to every single person that disagrees with you, you are going to be running yourself to death.